Okay, so one of the first things I always ask people is, for you, who is Christ to you?
Christ is to me he's my core. He's my being. He's who I count on. Although, you know, everybody, when you can't see him, he is a omnipresent in my life.
So, if you had to tell your story from you growing up, just like if I want to hear your testimony, your story, how would that go? Starting from your youngest age growing up, how was it growing up?
I grew up, I have a brother and a sister. I lived in a two-parent home, although just honestly speaking, it was two parents physically there, but it was one parent, you know, emotionally there.
Gotcha.
Because my dad always worked. I grew up in 15 miles east of Corsicana, which is 85 miles from here. And my dad worked in Dallas, so he commuted every day. So home was me, my mom, and my brother, and my sister.
How did that affect you? Because I heard that a lot. People saying, man, I either had a two-parent home, but dad always had to work. Did that affect you emotionally growing up, especially as a female?
It did. It did because it affected me, especially when I went off to college, because dad, he provided, but he was never there emotionally, honestly speaking. So it was always mom. So growing up, as I got older, and especially going to college, I looked for that male figure, you know, basically in guys. So to me, I was always choosing the wrong guy because I was looking for love because I never got that emotional love from home, from daddy.
What do you think the solution to that is? Because I hear that a lot. A lot of people saying like, man, the man should go provide, and that's his job. But it doesn't seem like it works out in the benefit of the child in the long run. Because a lot of people that I interview say the same thing. They say, man, my father wasn't there emotionally and it affected me. It made me go run to this situation or run to that situation. How do you kind of solve that problem?
I think it's more of like, because I have two daughters, and I watched it in my choice of men. I've seen it, and I'm watching it in their choice of men, and it's because they grew up the same way. You know, I was married to their dad. They had two parents in the home, but I feel like a girl's dad, you know, that should be her first love. Her dad should be her first love. And her dad should be the one, you know, to show her what it's supposed to be like or what to look for in a male. You know, the male, I feel like if he can't come harder than my dad, then I need to keep searching, you know, let God send that person for me. But for me, in my case, it didn't take much for anybody to come harder than my dad, per se, because daddy was always gone. So the first person that told me that he loved me, you know, I believed it because I never experienced or didn't know what love looked like from a male perspective because my mom and dad, they were never affectionate in front of us, you know, to each other. And I think the solution is, you know, it's prayer because it's a generational curse because it passed from my mama because my granddaddy was the same way to my grandmother and then to me, then to my daughters, and now I have a granddaughter. So it's prayer and just breaking generational curse, I think, is the solution. You know, just saying, okay, it stops here with me when you recognize it. You know, I don't want my daughter to go through that. This is what I lived through. So I just think it's prayer and breaking of generational curse.
And you said you had how many people were in the home?
It was me, my brother, my sister, and my mom and my dad.
Okay, so how close were you how close were you with your brother, and definitely how close were you with your mom growing up, since it was just y'all?
My mom we was very close. My brother, we're not close. We're not even really close to this day.
What?
No.
How does that happen?
I don't really know. See, now you're gonna make me cry. I don't know. People ask me that all the time. I don't know. And especially after my mom passed away, it got worse. So he lives, I think, in Grand Prairie, Arlington.
He's in the area?
Yeah. He lives in Arlington, and we have not seen him over a year. And he doesn't call, he doesn't communicate. We see more of his kids than we do of him.
So in a situation like that, and this is just my opinion, like I just had a friend pass, and I watched a person that she was dealing with. He's like heartbroken right now, right? Mm-hmm. He's everything he posts is just montages towards this person, but you can see it's like, this is our last video. This is the last video when she was with her kids or whatever the situation was, and then she left, and they never knew that was going to be the last time. How do you resolve that? Because you never want to look up and say, I never got that chance. I'll never have that chance again. So it's got to be some kind of solution to, man, you my brother at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it has to be, I believe, a two-way. It's just like in a relationship. Both parties have to want that. And honestly, I have not resolved that. I really can't say because I've tried. And it kind of goes back to my mom. Our mom passed suddenly. It's like unresponsive one morning. I spoke to her 30 minutes, and then the next 30 minutes she was basically gone. Wow. On life support. So for 2 days, you have to make a decision. And me being the oldest, made the decision because I was close to her. I know the lifestyle, and she always said, if I have to be a vegetable, I don't want that. Well, my brother being distant is like, he didn't know those things because he didn't have that relationship with mom. And I think he always felt like, well, y'all were closer. She loved y'all more, that type of thing. But it wasn't the case. And when she passed away, he took it the hardest. I feel like a lot of it was guilt because he was not close to her. She would call. He would ignore phone calls. And he would basically find out how she was doing through me. How's mama doing? When she called me the other day, I need to call her back. But he never called her back. And the morning that I gave him the call, it was not good news. So I think that kind of really just, it's like we're broken siblings right now. It's just me and my sister here and my brother there. And people that grew up with us, it's like they don't understand it. And I'm like, I don't understand.
Is one of your prayers to restore your family? That
is. It's a prayer. But I also, in reality, I pray about it. But as I said, it has to be a two-way street. Everybody has to want it. And I have, tried to, just like Thanksgiving, want everybody to get together. It just does not seem to happen. And it's even like, since my grandmother passed away, and she's been gone for a minute now, it's just like when Big Mama leaves, the family is just, everybody's just stagnant. And I'm experiencing that within my own immediate family. It's just me, my kids, my sister, and then my brother and his kids are in Mesquite. But I grew up like that because my dad he wasn't raised by his mom. He was raised by his grandmother and great-grandmother. And I remember growing up, we would drive to Fort Worth, and she lived off of Cloverdale. He would pull up, and he would say, y'all stay in the car. I'm only going to be in here about 15 to 20 minutes. And if 15 or 20 minutes went by, and he come out later, it was always this lady coming outside with him. And I remember just like it was last night. It was one night he stayed in there a little while, and I think I had to use the restroom. And I had to get out and go use the restroom, come back out. And he was coming out. He's walking. And this lady says, why you make them sit in the car? They could have got out. I haven't seen my grandkids. And I'm looking like, grandkids? So it was my dad's mom that he was just doing stop-by visits. So for this whole time until I probably was around 10 or 11 when we found out that we had a grandmother here in Fort Worth.
That's insane. Um, I think, man, I think I could say, I was saying my dad did the same thing. I don't know why the father is always kind of like that. So coming up, and it was just, that still, it baffles me with your brother. But you say you do interact with his kids.
Yeah.
Do they have any influence or pull on if he wants to come around or not?
They do, and then they don't. But they have the same. He has the same relationship that we had with our dad. Man, so it's like a generational curse. It's like he has the same relationship. He goes around, but that emotional, love, it's not there because he didn't get it. We didn't get it. And then my dad didn't get it because he was raised by his grandmother and great-grandmother.
How old were y'all when your mom ended up passing?
My mom passed, it'll be 10 years ago. That's coming in March. So okay. I was, married.
Right. So, okay.
Yeah.
So, did he have a chance? Because that seemed like...
He did not.
He would be angry, more so angry about, not having that chance.
But he won't, and he does not admit it. He's the type of person, I tell him, because I've needed... to go sit and talk to somebody.
Right.
Because I don't understand it. Everybody, when you want to talk about the spirituality of it, God, I don't understand. Like, why my mama? I don't, and I still struggle, honestly, with that today. It's like, some days I'm just not okay.
Right.
Because I don't understand. And he didn't get the chance, I just have a voicemail. So none of us got a chance to say anything, but, and we were with her every day. So it was suddenly, and I think he deals with that, but he won't admit it. So it's nothing that he's going to do to, help himself process it and heal from it. So I think he just deals with it like he's had bouts with, drinking, just.
So at the end of the day, he's going to end up being forced to. Unfortunately, he's going to be forced to deal with it. There's no problem that we don't end up having to face head on. Eventually, right. No matter how much we try to dodge it, like you said, we can dodge it through drugs or whatever the situation may be. You're going to have to face that problem eventually.
Right.
If your heart is hardened towards it right now, you're going to have to unharden it just to get over the situation. But for you, so y'all grew up for a while. Mama was still Mama was around for a while. Like you said, you went to college, everything, and she was still there for you. Was Mom a church grower?
Yes. I believe Mom, she was, saved. She church, every time the church door opened, we was at church. And I think a lot of that too, she was kind of, for the lack of words, she would keep herself busy because, Dad was Dad. He was honestly in the streets. And we lived in a very small town. So, the talk, this woman, that woman, see him, hear that. And I think a lot of mamas she was in denial. So, but she dealt with that going to church.
She still had that foundation, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And I heard you say that you still kind of deal with those emotions today. But do you ever think about it like, man, even if she had a chance, she would want to stay. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's probably really, really happy, you know what I'm saying, right now. I think, I keep telling everybody, I said, that's the main goal. Like, I try not to, when me and Rael lost ours, I try not to ask why no more, because I know that you're in somewhere better. And down here is kind of hard. You know what I'm saying? So that why for me is always like, man, you lucky. You ain't got to deal with this stuff no more. I still got to go on this journey and deal with this and deal with that. You good now. You know what I'm saying? So I try to look at stuff like that. I don't really try not to look at death as like a sad thing. I know it can be selfish when we look at it emotionally towards us. But man, for them, man, y'all good. So how's your sister, You said y'all still do things together. Y'all still interact. Do y'all still have like holidays together? How does that go?
We do. Well, we're trying to actually, even that between me and my sister, we kind of just, we're working on restoring our sister because I'm 9 years older than she is.
Right.
But we just kind of went through a couple of years ago where we didn't speak for a year. So we're restoring. Yeah, it's like, you know, people say the enemy, but you know, people came in between. You know, she was in a relationship where, you know, he really didn't care for me, so he kind of planning a lot of stuff, you know, and it became division between us. And I often wonder, like, how did that happen? You know, between sisters, like we were supposed to be. Nobody could tell me nothing. And you know, at the end of the day, siblings do. You know, they argue, they disagree, but at the end of the day, you know, you're my sister. But it was like a year that we didn't speak, and we're now restoring. So, you know, we do stuff together. We travel together. We have holidays together. So we're working on getting back to where we were.
If it was up to you, what is your ideal view of how you want your family to be?
That's a tricky question for me because my definition of family is not always blood. If you choose, you know, your family, because family to me could be, you know, someone not born of, you know, anyone in my family. But the ideal family dynamic, yeah, is kind of like it was when I was growing up. We was always at grandmother's house on Sundays. She would cook. Everybody came over, ate, cleaned up, laid around, watched TV, then leave. You know, and just stay connected. It's about connection. I have a big family on my mom's side especially, and we're all here in Fort Worth and in the surrounding area. And I can tell you that I do not know. And it's so large that when we moved to Fort Worth, because I hadn't always lived in Fort Worth, when they were in school, in high school, like before you start dating, I need to know names and last names and who they family is. Because you're really subject to be related to anybody, especially, you know, Como area. You know, there's a lot of my mom's family is from there. But the dynamic is just, you know, staying connected and just loving each other. And, you know, not all the backbiting and, you know, just being real. If you really genuinely love, let's just do that.
So, that I understand that completely. Now you know that you're dealing with a generational curse, and that's one of the hardest things to break. Outside of just sitting and letting it happen, because I'm envisioning right now you having your family around, especially you saying you have a big family, and I can really see you being happy in a situation like that, just having all these people around, kids or whatever the situation may be. How do we break this generational curse?
What I know to do is fast and pray, and you could really have to just, you know, surrender it and give it to God. And honestly, I do. I struggle sometimes because, you know, it's just like I'm just tired. I'm tired. Like, I feel like I've been praying for this, and it's, you know, but it's like they're not listening. So sometimes you just have to let it go.
Thanks.
And as the old people say, yield them over to God and pray and wish for the best. And I always pray, you know, I do pray because I do believe. I'm like, you know, God will get your attention some kind of way. I just pray, God, don't use me to get my kids attention.
Right. Let them figure out
Let them figure that out, please. You know, because I tell my granddaughter, You know, she used when she was little because she was there when we found my mom, and my mom used to keep her, so she spent a lot of time. So my granddaughter has a lot of my mom's, demeanor, and she was like, I had a dream. Don't you want to see Nana? And I'm like, yeah, but not today. Not today. Not right now. I'm not ready. But yeah, that's my biggest prayer. It's like, get their attention. Because y'all got your own relationship. Mm-hmm. Let him get y'all attention. But it's a lot of prayer and fasting that I really have not, honestly, overcome. Because, when we was growing up, the old people say, oh, don't question God, don't question God. And I'm like, well, God, I do have questions.
Man, we all question.
I do have questions. Because, like when my mom passed away, I was angry, then I wasn't angry. The only thing because I really struggled with making that decision, although I knew it had to be made. But the only thing that gave me a little peace in making the decision is she only survived 12 minutes after we unplugged the machine. She didn't suffer. Right. It wasn't weeks, it wasn't days, it wasn't, months. It was only like 12 minutes and she was just peacefully gone. So some days, I get that satisfaction, but you always got the people that, oh, she's in a better place and, all this. Yes, I trust God. I believe in God. I know the scripture. But right now, I want my mama.
Right.
Right. I don't. So my habit with that is if someone close to me I just say I'm here. Because I'm lost for, I don't know what to say. I'm not going to say she in a better place because I know you want your mom. That I know, God is our comfort. Look to the hills with comfort. All of that cliche stuff to me, it's like I don't say because I got tired of hearing it, when I lost my mom.
So what if in your opinion, because it'll only do your opinion, how do you think if she could say something, anything right now, how do you think she would look back and feel about how you've proceeded forward since her passing?
Now you go. My mama was my best friend, so she would have a lot to say about some of my decisions. Some of my decisions I made was due to the lack of not having someone to talk to, because I hold a lot in. Right. Because, people, you just don't know. I don't trust a lot of people, so you just don't know who to talk to, so to hold all that down, I just hold a lot in. And her words would be, we all make mistakes. And it's going to be okay. Just keep trusting God and keep praying. I know it get hard, but, God's got you. And in due time. But I made a lot of hasty decisions, being in my emotions because I used to talk to Mom when I get really emotional. And she would kind of help me walk through and process decisions, especially in marriage. Because I used to wonder, I'm like, why did you stay? Why did you? Cause her and my daddy got divorced after 35 years.
What?
They were married 35 years and then got divorced. So I saw her deal with a lot. Man. So, but I can say, seeing her after divorce and during marriage, she was her happiest self after she got divorced.
Really? 35 years is a long time to,
I had my second son and 2 daughters. I had my last kid, and she got divorced in 94. And they had been, because they got married straight out of high school.
So, with your mom being your best friend, and then you got your father in a way, the only way to say it is mistreating your best friend. How was the dynamic with your father?
I struggle because now my dad is older and retired, and he's in the early stages of Alzheimer's dementia,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to do a lot,
For him,
appointments.
got you.
And some days, honestly, I don't want to.
Like he ain't doing. Yeah, I understand.
I don't want to. And he has his, because he was that controlling dad, that controlling man. So he's still trying to control, and you know, it's an argument. But some days I don't. I don't want to, and then some days, I do. I cry and hate to see him like that. But growing up, it's like I didn't have, and I think that was a lot of I went through being promiscuous in college. I got pregnant my second year in college when I had my son. My graduating year, I was pregnant. I graduated pregnant. Just looking, this dude, it's like I always, in my mind, had to have a male. And in my mind, a male, it didn't matter how they treated me, because my son's dad was horrible. He would jump on me in college, and I would stay away from the dorm till I healed up and go back and be the same thing. But my thing was a male some of the time, just having a boyfriend or whatever. Some of the time it's better than not having no man none of the time. So I always find myself in, I've been married twice, divorced twice. It's like all my life I've always been with a male. And I've never been, per se, by myself.
Right.
And it was just due to the disconnect. It's like I've never heard my dad say I love you. And I'm 56.
Does he have the same relationship with your brother and sister?
Mm-hmm.
So are you the only one helping?
It's me and my sister. My brother he doesn't do much at all. And that's a strained relationship due to, when we were growing up, daddy was the disciplinarian. He would hand down the discipline, but you're never home. So you're trying to run stuff and you're not home. But then when you get home, you want to hand out the whoopings and all of that. So I know that's part of my brother's problem that has never been discussed. So he might ask, but he don't do much. He don't do nothing at all.
So you talked to me about abuse, dual marriages, grief. Um, what would you say overall is your biggest testimony?
My biggest testimony is I'm making it. I made it. And it really is okay to say you're not okay. When I'm not okay, I'm just not okay. My sister knows when I'm not okay. Just the other day, I wasn't okay. If you had saw me the other day, you would swear my mom just passed away the day before. And she's been gone. It'll be 10 years in March. I didn't really get to grieve because she passed away suddenly. We planned a funeral, then I went back to work. And it's like I've been going and going and going, and some days it catches up. And definitely on Sundays, because she was that phone call on Sunday morning. So I pray my way through. I pray my way when I don't understand, and most times I don't understand. I just pray because I know that's what to do. I know that to do. It's pray. Pray, pray, pray. Even when you feel like you're not getting an answer. But I do understand that when I pray, I have to get still so I can hear. So, because some things, answers don't come in the shape, form, fashion that I think they should. Your blessings don't come in the shape, form. Your blessings don't even come from the people, per se, that you bless. They come from different ways, different avenues, total strangers or whatever. You just have to position yourself, to hear and know that that's what's happening. So that's my testimony is prayer. Prayer is the key. Prayer changes it. you know, trust him when you can't trace him. That's the bottom line. And a lot of times and a lot of days I can't trace him.
I like that. Trust him when you can't trace him. That's actually big. So, two more questions. I want to know. So, what do you think is or has been your purpose? As like, what do you think your purpose is? Your mission in life?
You would ask that. Because I talk about this with my sister all the time. Because some days I'm like, what is my purpose? Because the word of God says everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a gift. What is your gift? You know, people tell me, you know, your gift is, administrative. You know, you do this, you do that. You know, to me, that comes natural. It's not a gift to me. Because I'm like, some of that stuff is like common sense. You know, you detail, but when you do it for other people, and I think it's helping people in, you know, ways that people don't think like they need help in, or people wouldn't look at that as being helps. So I think that's my gift is, you know, helps and just having a big heart. And sometimes having a big heart is also my weakness.
You know, I know how that goes. People will use that to their advantage.
Yes.
If you could go back to 14-year-old Sharon, but you could only tell her one thing, give her only one bit of advice, what would be the advice you would give to yourself? Knowing what you know now.
14-year-old Sharon, knowing what I know now, I probably would have, after graduation, went ahead and went straight to the Air Force as planned instead of going to school. Knowing I would have. And it's just going to be okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's just going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
I think when I ask people that question, 9 out of 10 of them all say the same thing. Man, I wish I'd have went to the Air Force right after high school. Like 3 or 4 people have said that. Like, man, I wish I would have went when I had a chance to go. Any younger person watching this right now, why do you feel that way? Because I do think that's a way better route than the route that they're taking now. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think some people can come out of school and do a trade or find some kind of business for themselves. But that's not what a lot of them are doing. Would you say, hey, join the military? Or would you say, whatever you decide to do, trust God behind it?
I probably would say, whatever you decide to do, trust God behind it. I say I would have been to the Air Force, but just sitting here, I would have to backtrack that. And that's because of my son. Because my son is my biggest gift. Although I got pregnant with him in college, his dad has nothing to do with him. And I don't know, even if you know my son has so many gifts and talent, music, drums. He's been blessed with, you know, gifts. And I feel like if I had have went straight to the military, then I wouldn't have him. Because his dad wanted me. I considered aborting him. And I changed my mind. And that's the last time that me and his dad ever spoke. And he's right there in Athens, Texas. And my son is only 30 miles from him in Corsicana. He won't speak to him. He won't talk. He won't acknowledge him. None of that. My son is 34 years old.
What stopped you from aborting him?
My mama, that's just, you know, wasn't the way I was raised. You know, you made your bed, you're going to lay in it. But this is like I just couldn't do it. And he's 35 now. And he has, you know, searched and tried to have a relationship with his dad. And finally I just said, let it be. Just let it rest. Because I do believe that before he leaves this earth, that he's going to have to acknowledge him. That was his first son. He's had 2 more. He's had one that passed away, you know. but he will not acknowledge him. And I do believe in my heart that before he leaves this earth, he's going to have to acknowledge my son as his son. So I'd have to tell my son, just let it, because you keep hurting yourself. And I don't have answers. And it hurts me because I don't have answers, because I don't know. I don't know, because once I had him, he wasn't even at the birth. I just left. I graduated and left Athens, and we have not spoken since. And my son is 35, so I don't have no answers I can tell you. I mean, I can tell you he was abusive to me. When I was pregnant, he jumped on me. You know, those things. He really did not want him here.
How'd y'all find? Like, did he search them out and found them?
He's not. Corsicana, we have Athens. But the sad thing about it is he has a sister that grew up 2 streets over from, we lived in the same community. So he would come pick the daughter up, and my son would be 2 streets over and would see him. It's, you know, it's a country town, so he would see him come pick him up.
I think you're 100% right, man. Like I said earlier, we always run back into the situation that we're trying to avoid the most. Mm-hmm. We always end up needing that person that we probably did the worst. Mm-hmm. Have us come up is one day. Is what it is. It's just only a matter of time that you got to face it. Man, I really, really appreciate you coming through. Where can they find you
at? I'll be at home.
What's your social media?
I have no social media. I'm not a content creator. But I'm Sharon Washington on Facebook.
There we go.
And Denise 1967 backwards on Instagram.
Man, we want to
seen it.
We want to pay attention. We want to see these generational curses get broken, man. I want to look up one day and just see you with your people, man. I think everybody's going to want to see that after hearing you. Again, I appreciate you coming through, and we will see y'all next time.
Peace.